Hey everyone, are you ready for another amazing Bible story? Let's dive into the story of Enoch. In the beginning, God created the world and everything in it. He made people in his own image, the first man named Adam and the first woman named Eve. They lived in a place called the Garden of Eden, but they disobeyed God and left the garden. Then all kinds of people began to live all over the earth, generation after generation. And we're going to tell you about one man who walked with God. His name was Enoch. Long ago, before the time of Noah, before the great flood, there lived a man who walked so closely with God that one day he simply disappeared. His name was Enoch. Not a warrior, not a king, just a man, but one who lived differently than everyone else around him. Enoch was the great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam, the very first man. He lived in a time when people lived for hundreds of years, and most had forgotten God. People were selfish and mean. They fought and lied and stole, but Enoch was different. The Bible tells us Enoch walked with God. That means he lived a life of faith, obedience, and friendship with his Creator. Every day, Enoch chose to follow God. When others didn't, he listened when God spoke. He believed even though he couldn't see. And he passed that faith to his son, Methuselah, and the generations after him. Imagine how dark the world must have been to someone like Enoch, seeing the evil around him and knowing God's heart for righteousness. Yet he knew God wasn't finished with humanity, so every day he prayed for his family and friends, hoping they would turn away from their wicked ways and return to God. Enoch spent time in prayer and worship. He praised God and thanked him for all he had done. He also shared what he learned with others, hoping to guide them closer to God. When he saw people hurting, he helped them. He shared food with the hungry, water with the thirsty, and comfort with those who were grieving. He didn't have much, but he had enough to help anyone in need. Enoch also taught his family and friends about God. He told them stories of creation and promised them a future with God. Because of Enoch's faithfulness, many people came to know God and put their trust in him. Years went by, and Enoch kept walking with God. He continued to pray, worship, and share his faith with others. Then one day, God spoke to Enoch and told him that he was going to take him to heaven. Can you imagine how surprised Enoch must have been? After a lifetime of faith and service, God was finally taking him home. But before that, God gave Enoch a special assignment. He asked him to go to a nearby town and tell the people there to turn away from their wicked ways and turn to God. So Enoch went to the town and shared God's message with the people. Some listened, but most just laughed at him. They said, "What can God do? We don't believe what you say." But Enoch didn't get angry or give up. He continued to share God's message and pray for the people until God told him to come home. When Enoch returned home, he was happy to see his family and friends. He hugged them and told them how much he loved them. Then he went inside his house and waited for God. He knew that soon he would leave this world and go to heaven, and he wanted to be ready. Not long after that, God came for Enoch. He stood outside Enoch's house and knocked on the door. When Enoch opened the door, he was so happy to see God. The two of them talked for a few minutes, and then God told Enoch it was time to go. He reached out his hand and took Enoch's hand, and together they walked away from the house and went up into the sky. As they walked, the ground beneath them began to shake, and the people in the town came out of their houses to watch. They saw Enoch and God walking away from the town and into the sky. And then they disappeared. Some people said, "Look, that's Enoch and God. They're going up into the sky." Others said, "No, it's not true. It must be a dream or a vision." But one person knew the truth. It was Enoch's son, Methuselah. He had seen his father walk with God for his whole life, and he knew that his father had been taken to heaven. After Enoch was taken to heaven, God told Methuselah, You will live a long life, and you will see many things happen in your lifetime. But remember, God is in control. Trust in him no matter what happens. Then Methuselah lived a long life, and he passed down his father's faith to his family and friends. The book of Hebrews tells us, by faith, Enoch was taken from this life, so that he did not experience death. He was not found because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had been warned as a man who was pleasing to God. This means that Enoch trusted God so much that he was willing to leave everything behind and follow him, no matter where he led him. One day, Enoch was walking with God. Suddenly, God stopped and pointed to a mountain in the distance. Enoch looked up and saw that it was covered with beautiful flowers and plants. There were birds singing in the trees and animals playing in the fields. "Can we go there?" Enoch asked God. "Yes," God replied. "This mountain belongs to me, and you may walk on it." So Enoch thanked God and began to walk toward the mountain. As he walked, he noticed that the air was filled with the sweet smell of flowers. He could hear the sound of birds singing and the gentle breeze blowing through the trees. He felt a sense of peace and joy that he had never experienced before. When he reached the top of the mountain, he saw a beautiful garden. There were flowers of all colors, trees that bore delicious fruit, and a clear stream flowing through the middle of the garden. Enoch sat down on a nearby stone and closed his eyes. He could hear the sound of the stream flowing and the birds singing. He felt so peaceful and content. Then he heard a voice. "Enoch, my son, I am pleased with you because you have walked with me and obeyed my commands." Enoch opened his eyes and saw God standing in front of him. "I am ready to go to heaven," Enoch said. "I have trusted in you and followed your commands. Now I want to be with you in heaven." God smiled at Enoch and said, "You are right, my son. You have served me faithfully, and now it is time for you to rest. Come with me." Then God reached out his hand and took Enoch's hand. Together, they walked away from the garden and into the sky. People have been telling the story of Enoch ever since. They tell it to remind themselves that God is real and that he loves them. They also tell it to remind themselves that they can trust God and follow him no matter what happens. Let's think about some lessons from Enoch's story. First, let's think about how Enoch walked with God. He didn't try to hide from God or pretend that he wasn't there. Instead, he chose to follow God and obey his commands. Second, let's think about how Enoch was always ready to help others. He didn't wait for people to ask for help. Instead, he saw their needs and did what he could to meet them. Finally, let's think about how Enoch trusted God no matter what happened. He didn't complain or give up when things were hard. Instead, he held on to his faith and believed that God was in control. So the next time you feel like giving up, remember Enoch and hold on to your faith. The next time you see someone in need, remember Enoch and help them. And the next time you want to walk with God, remember Enoch and take that first step. And that's the story of Enoch. I hope you enjoyed hearing it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Until next time, remember to keep walking with God. Now let's talk about some ways that you can apply the lessons from Enoch's story to your own life. How can you walk with God more closely? How can you be more helpful to others? And how can you trust God more completely? Write down your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more amazing Bible stories. Thanks for watching. See you next time.